Today we're going to be fishing with, I would say, my idea of what you would expect to use for tarpon down here in Georgia. Now, you can look at this monofilament line we have here, and this is a 150-pound test monofilament line. Now, a lot of people has never even seen a 150-pound monofilament line, and it is very heavy. I mean, most of the people that come down here and fish with me, they accuse me of going out to the shed and robbing the weed eater and getting the string off of it. But look, 150-pound line on these large fish is very important. Now, many times in other locations where the water is just gin clear, I want to drop down and use a smaller leader size. But here in Georgia, if the water's a little bit off color, you can get away using large leader material like a 150-pound test. Now, if the water goes gin clear, you might want to scale back in size on your leader material. Always remember, when you're out here fishing, there's not one hook, there's not one leader, there's not one rod and reel that'll cover every situation there is. So in this case, what I'll do is I'll have at least 5 or 6 different choices of monofilament leader on my boat at hand at all times. As the conditions change, I'll build new leaders so that I'll be ready for that situation when it arises. Just as if I got small bait that day, I want to have access to smaller tackle. So remember, when you're out here in the saltwater and you're saltwater fishing, your tackle selection many times has to be much larger than what you'd use in fresh water. And be sure that the reels that you buy for these large fish, the drags work well, and you buy a quality product so that it'll hold up to these large battles. So right here, I got about 7 foot of 150-pound leader. Right here on the bottom end, I have what we call a tarpon hook, but this is a 77/66 mustad hook. Now this is a 6/0 size. Now that's a pretty good size hook, but for a lot of the fish we fish for, we go much larger. But this is definitely bigger than anything I'm using in a bass pond back home, and it's a good strong hook, and it'll hold a lot of weight, and it'll last through a long, long battle. I tie the hook on the end, basically just using an improved clinch knot, and then I come down and I make a double granny knot is actually what it is. I just make a loop and run it through it twice, and this is used as a stop knot. As you can see, I got a knot right in the middle of my leader, and many people says, well, Mark, you know that makes your leader a lot weaker. Well, maybe it does, but it allows me to do something special. I don't want to put a weight on my main line, and the reason why I don't want to put the weight on my main line, because a lot of times you're in and out a lot, and over a period of time the weight's going to drag off and maybe even chafe your line a little bit. But I want the weight on this 150-pound leader so that when I'm fighting that fish, this weight is really protected and it stops at that knot. There's no way this sinker right here can damage that 150-pound line. Yes, this knot does make the leader a little bit weaker, but it allows me to keep that weight under control where it won't slide way up my line, because remember, out here fishing, we're not trolling, we're anchored up today, and we're going to be casting. And if you're casting with a slip sinker on your line, you're throwing these long leaders, the slip sinker will ride up your line, and it doesn't really give you a very good opportunity at making a long cast. And long cast allows us to have line separation. When we're sitting out here fishing, we don't want all of our lines on top of each other, because that'll create tangles. So we want to put a stop knot on our leader, which we've done right here. I got a leader on the main line, and right here at the top, we're going to put a surgeon's knot in here. Now, today I'm wearing one of those fancy shirts from Bass Pro Shop, so I call it a surgeon's knot, but it's a double granny. And there it is right there. You can see the figure 8 style of the knot. You pull it down tight, and look here, you got a great connection right there to go to a swivel that will be attached to your 50-pound main line going to your rod. Clip off your tag ends so that they won't tangle up your other lines. And basically what we've done right here is we've made up a tarpon leader. And of course, the weight size of choice today will depend on the strength of the current, because anytime you're tarpon fishing, you never want to use more weight than you need. So I'll put some on there with a larger weight, and I'll go all the way down to a 1/2 ounce weight, and hey, even sometimes I'll put one on a cork, or even I'll put it on a free line and have no weight whatsoever. So we'll put them out today, see which ones these tarpons want to bite on, whether it's the free line or a weighted line or a cork line. And when we find them fired up on one way or another, we're going to load up that direction and see if we can't get these tarpon turned on and hooked up.